Welcome to Unraveling the Black Creator, a series designed to highlight Black creators' advancements and hardships in the entertainment industry. Black creators have dealt with challenges and hardships since the beginning of time, from not hearing their story being told, being underrepresented, stereotypes, not having a seat at the table, and this recent pandemic. Creators are always coming up with ways to produce and create in a way that is impactful and beneficial to their audiences despite their shortcomings. Black creators are still making a way for their work to be seen, and this series will highlight some of the best creators in the industry. You're watching Unraveling the Black Creator, and I'm your host, Anyae Johns. I'm your host, Anyae Johns, and today I will be talking to Miss LaToya Stroman. Please give her a warm welcome as we welcome her to our show today. Woo! Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So let's get into it. So you've been a producer for some time now for some big companies in the industry such as We, Own, Bravo, and much more. So can you tell me what that experience has been for you?
Yes, the producing experience has been a journey. It's really producing is amazing. I love being a content creator. Being there's so many different variables when producing and while producing. So once you find out what part of producing you like to do, there are many different tracks that you can go on. For me, I've been a segment producer, I've been a casting producer, I've been a supervising producer, all the way up to being an executive producer. And for me, I wanted to experience it on every level. I wanted to know every single part of the job, but I've been like that since college. When I was in college, I learned how to do everything from putting the mics on the guest to being in a control room because I wanted to know what it's like if someone doesn't show up for work. Will I be able to do the audio? Will I be able to shoot the scene? So producing in itself has been incredible, and I've learned so much. Every single producing job that I take, I learn something from it. Now, there's been many challenges because I am a Black woman. So number one, just being Black, and number two, being a Black woman, sometimes I'm not always welcome in the door. And sometimes it is, I have no problem with being confident, and I have no problem with who I am. But it has been very challenging because I've not always been welcome. Sometimes I've been the only Black person in the room. Sometimes I've been the only Black person on the show. And that in itself is difficult. It's hard. But I've gotten through it, and I'm still here, and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yes, I totally agree with what you just said. It's really hard being a Black woman in this industry. And I know that you have your own show called A Seat at the Table with LaToya. So can you speak on how that started and what, I know how you said it was challenging. Is that what caused you to create that show?
Okay, so A Seat at the Table with LaToya is a series that actually it came into play during COVID, and during the time that I live in Los Angeles, so everything in LA has been shut down. And when I say shut down, I mean they were only one person per household can even go to the grocery store in your neighborhood. They were really watching everything. So I was home for quite a bit. When I was in college, I had a talk show, and everybody used to interview me when I was in college, and they would say, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I want to have my own talk show because I want to have my own, content out there, and I want to interview guests." So I've always known that I wanted to have my own show. I just sometimes you don't know how you're going to get to that road. And I tell you, I didn't even know A Seat at the Table was happening this year. I was literally sitting on my sofa, and all of a sudden, the Lord gave me this vision that just do it. Just do it. So many people. And that's the thing. I've been blessed to sit at a lot of tables. I mean, everywhere, all around the world. And a seat at the table with LaToya is just that. Take a seat at the table and you're going to learn something. Maybe you haven't been able to get to London. You're going to learn something from our friends who live in London. Maybe you haven't been able to get to Atlanta and meet, the show I'm working on now, Married to Medicine Atlanta. And maybe you haven't been able to meet these doctors one-on-one and know what it's like to be a Black dentist, a Black physician, owning your own practice. So it's so many different people that I've met along the years that I'm like, you are interesting. Let's bring you to the table. It might be a young person. I have a young girl, because I also have a nonprofit organization called Girl Talk Global. And I have a young girl who is a Forex trader. I'm like, girl, you're 14 years old and you're trading. Let's bring you to the table. Let's talk about it. Right. So a seat at the table with LaToya is just that. Take a seat at the table and you're going to learn something. I have a guest coming up, Mr. Ben Crump, attorney Ben Crump, who is at the forefront of everything happening with our people right now. He is literally like the Attorney General of Black people. Anytime anything happens, Attorney Ben Crump is there. So he is my next seat at the table.
Well, that's awesome that you're still thriving and producing content through this pandemic, because I know it's been very, very hard on us content producers. So I just wanted to know, like, if this pandemic wasn't going on, how do you think your experience would be right now? Like, what do you think you would be doing?
Well, honestly, I've been blessed. In the beginning of the pandemic, everything was shut down. I had just come off of the Tamar Braxton show, producing that show in Los Angeles. We had produced that show the end of last year, I believe October, all the way through January. February, I was looking, because I'm a freelance producer. So when one job ends, I'm looking for the next. So February, I was already trying to see what next show I was going to go to. I had accepted a job, the Married to Medicine, actually, this job. And I had gotten 5 offers. And that's a blessing in itself. I had 5 offers. Yes, I had 5 offers. Yes. So what you do is you see which one works for you. This particular show, they flew me down here. They pay for my housing. They give you a producer car, and then I get paid, and they pay for meals and things like that. So it worked for me. I didn't mind, moving for a couple months, because if it works for you, it works for you. Right. But so I was supposed to start that job in March, and they kept saying, okay, when everything hit, they were like, okay, we're pushed back to the end of the month. Okay, we're pushed back to next month. Okay, we're pushed to June. And it just kept being pushed back, and I just was not working. I actually had no idea when I would go back to work. I started this job in July. So I have been blessed to be working through the pandemic, and we are still in the middle of COVID-19. So I'm just super grateful and blessed to be working. And when I wasn't working, I was sitting at home creating content. I was thinking of different things to do for Girl Talk Global. I was coming up with things, because I have a book coming out next year. So, some people are not able to be creative because it's a stressful time. And then other people are using that time to be creative. I just happen to be one of those people that is self-motivated. I'm an encourager by nature. So I wasn't going to let this just completely take me down.
Right. And I'm glad you didn't let it. So I have one more question for you. So basically, I know that you do a lot of mentoring with your organization, and you're a producer. What would you have to say to someone like me, or someone younger than me, that wants to do this for a living? Like, what would your advice be to them?
My advice would be, don't give up on your dreams. I don't care what anyone else tells you. You have to believe in you. Self-motivating cards, write on stickies. I'm a talk show host. These are my guests. Start writing down who your guests are. Get yourself a vision board, and you look at your vision board every day. And people are going to say no. People are not going to want you in the room. You let your work speak for itself. If you're in college, get your work in before all the other students get their work in. Go the extra mile. I love that you contacted me for this interview because you contacted someone that's actually working in the business right now. So you're able to get an authentic interview.
Right.
And that's going the extra mile, like the way you contacted me, how you booked me. I am like legit, seriously, always busy. I left work to be at this interview.
Thank you so much.
But I literally, after this, I'm going right back, to producing because we just got a bunch of extra scenes. And right now on our scenes, we have to test everybody for COVID. So everybody's calling me for testing and there's a lot going on. But I thought this was so important because when you're in college, sometimes you don't know how is it going to be when I get out there. Right. And you know how it's going to be? Amazing. Because when you get in there, you speak to everyone, show up on time. If they say be there at 10, be there at 8. And be at that door and let them say, wow, every time we show up, she's there. Yes, because the security guard will notice that girl comes in every day at 8. I always also dressed the part that I wanted to be. When everybody else was wearing jeans, I probably was wearing dress pants. When everyone else was carrying a backpack, I probably was carrying a briefcase. So I was very different. I knew who I was and no one could change that. You have to know who you are, even when it doesn't match. Even when your bank account might not even match, you say, no. I know I'm gonna be able to buy this car. I know I'm gonna be able to invest in this career. And you just research and don't be afraid to reach out to people. If you know, you want to interview a certain person, you never know. If you go in their inbox, let them know what you're doing. You never know who you may be able to book. So don't be afraid. And I always say, finish what you start. Don't start something and don't finish. Finish what you start. Believe in yourself, have that confidence, be self-motivated and go out there and get it. Why be fearful? Why be scared? The world, you're a student, the world is at your feet right now. You can call up anywhere and say, listen, I'm a student and I wanted to know how you started this business. Do you have 5 minutes to sit down with me? That 5 minutes, I guarantee you, will turn into 5 hours. And it might even turn up to you having a new mentor. So just be courageous. Go for it. That is my advice. Go for it and keep going. I'm so proud of your show. Whatever I can do to get it out there, I would love to have you at a seat at the table. I'm inviting you to my show to be my guest on too.
Well, yes, I would love to be on your show. I watched it on your Instagram account I know you spoke with, I think one I looked at when you were talking to Miss India Stearns from OWN. Yeah, so yeah, I was at that one.
Yes. And Miss India Kenny Stearns would be an excellent role model for you. She's a network executive and there's not one network that India hasn't worked at. So, and she's amazing. I love India. Her energy is magnificent. She's one of my favorite people.
Wow. Well, thank you for joining us today. It was a pleasure working with you. I'll be sure to keep in touch with you. You were just awesome, and I just love that you were able to be on the show, and you really inspired me, and I'm just glad that I was able to connect with you.
Well, thank you so much again for having me. It was a pleasure to be here. I'm very committed when it comes to students or anyone pursuing their education. Big advocate for education. So this interview actually meant more to me than being at my job that pays me. Literally, I said, I have to go. I have something to do because I wanted to be here for you and I wanted to be your guest. I'm proud of you. I'm proud that your set looks great. You look fabulous. And I'm
Thank you. So do you.
That I can be your guest today. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon, Miss Toya.
Okay.
Have a great day. Thank you for watching Unraveling the Black Creator, a series designed to highlight Black creators' advancements and hardships in the entertainment industry. You heard it here first with LaToya Stroman. We'll see you next time.